Okay. We are live. Hello, everyone. Today,
Hello.
our guest analyzer will be GM Peter Prohaska, former Spice GM, who's now graduated.
Welcome, everybody.
Oh, for one moment, we will be having Susan join us momentarily. So, just one moment, guys.
Yes, and thank you so much for the invitation, Anna.
Admit Susan. So, we'll be having Susan join us. One moment, everyone. And here we go. Okay, we are ready. Welcome,
Hi, Susan.
Susan.
You are muted yet.
Susan, your mic is muted.
Okay, welcome everyone.
So far, we don't have anyone joining us just quite yet, but the games have started. So if everyone could pull those up, I'm working on pulling it up on my screen.
Okay.
Hi, Susan.
Hi, how you doing? I'm trying to see you guys as well as the board at the same time.
Right, I'm trying to pull up the board as well. So I think what I will do is on this screen. Oh no, that is the one I want though.
No moves yet, right?
Right.
Not yet.
Which is strange, because Sophie is down more than 2 minutes already on the clock.
Yes. Yes, she is.
What about the other game? Did that one start?
Yes, that one already started.
Okay, I'll switch to that one
It
then
did.
for my stream.
It did. They are playing Sicilian. Some technical challenges.
That's unfortunate.
Yes, it is.
Okay, well the game started for the second game. I'm not sure what's happening with Sophie though.
Yeah, hopefully she arrives.
But the game with Zoe Tang and Teresa Singh has started. Are you
Right.
able to pull that one up?
That game started as a Sicilian and transposed kind of to the French type of position.
Yes, very quickly. After c4, c3, e6, d4, d5 takes, bishop d3.
Let me try to look into what's going on there.
Yes, actually the other game started as well.
Oh, it did?
It did, yes. It did.
Okay, so in this game that we were looking at between Teresa and Zoe, white seems to have a pleasant position with a nice outpost for the knight on e5. But of course, it's not yet anything major either.
And the other one, black decided to play the king's Indian. But let's introduce the players first. Now that everybody is here.
Sounds good.
Anna, will you do that?
It shows that you guys are talking, but I can't hear you. So give me one moment.
Oh no.
Hmm.
You mean the Twitch sound doesn't work?
Let me see if Judith can hear. Hmm.
Do we have any viewers so far?
Well, one, and that may be me. So we should solve the challenge, the technical
Yeah,
challenges.
technical.
Oh no, you can hear us here, right? On Zoom.
I see you guys moving, but I can't hear you. I'm asking Judith if she can hear through the stream or if something is wrong with the sound. Peter, since you have the stream available on your phone, would you be able to see if you can hear yourself talking through your stream and then type in the Zoom chat whether or not the audio is working for you guys? Oh boy, I think I got it. Okay, can you all hear me still?
I hear you, yes.
Okay, I can hear Susan now. Peter, would you speak for a moment?
Yes, of course.
Okay, great. Now the audio is back to working.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm not sure what happened, but after clicking a few buttons, everything seems to be working again. Wonderful.
Great. That sounds great.
So do
Okay.
you guys see both games? Because I've only seen one so far.
So perhaps on the if you click on the links, then it shows up on the right side of the screen. I believe at least it does for me.
Yes, I have both games that are playing. And on the stream, I've just switched to game 1.
Hmm?
Game 1 with the white pieces, we have women's FIDE master Sophie Suzuki. And the black pieces, we have Analia Vargas. Are you able to see the game, guys?
We are, and they are the first and fourth finisher
Correct.
of the tournament yesterday, and we are seeing the playoff section.
I do see the second game now. Teresa against Zoe, but I'm not seeing the other one.
It, perhaps if you click on the the other link as well, then the way it comes up is on the is that you can change on the right side on the right side of the page, of the web page, between the games, hopefully.
So Zoe is already at halftime. Her opponent has 14 minutes, and she already has. No, Sophie. Yes, Sophie has 7 minutes left already, which is the same issue we saw yesterday, where Sophie was getting into time pressure or significantly down on time relatively early compared to all of her opponents.
She did, but she did arrive to the game
Right.
3.5 minutes late, and that might probably is the reason.
Judith
She
says she was
spent
having some technical difficulties with the Wi-Fi, so hopefully it doesn't affect her.
hopefully. Anna. So
So we can see both of the games.
we
Susan's still
can.
having some technical difficulties. Can you see both of them still, Peter?
I can switch between the two of them. Yes.
As can I.
Oh, I can now as well.
Great.
Okay, and
Okay.
this is the same opening that Sophie played in the final game yesterday, where she was extremely lucky because she was completely outplayed by a beautiful combination in the last round. And yet, at the end, she managed to save the game because her opponent misplayed a winning position. But in that game, in the King's Indian Zamish variation, Black played a different variation with c6 and a6. Here, Black is playing with c5, so this is a different setup. And what's common between this game and yesterday's last game of Sophie's that again she has half the time, less than half the time left than her opponent. So it will be interesting to see if she'll manage to make a comeback from this time deficit that she
Right,
currently
and Judith is telling us that she's also having internet issues, so part of that time problem is not just her fault, it's her internet connection. So, which means it could unfortunately get worse as the game goes on, where she might cut out for a little bit and lose
has.
more time.
And that is very unfortunate. And it's well, it's part of online chess as well. Internet connection. We have seen some issues in earlier events as well when cutting out internet played a huge role in results. And so it's definitely a challenge. So hopefully over the board events come back soon.
Yes, unfortunately, even as prestigious and major events as the Chess Olympiad, which was held online last year, there were some major issues of some players not having internet connection and losing because of it. So it's of course it's a very unfortunate part of this package of online chess.
It is. And hopefully her internet will be better and it's not going to be more of a decisive factor than it seems right now.
Exactly. So now that I have post games as well, we can talk a little bit about what's going on so far. So in the second game by Teresa and Zoe, um, what do we have here? Black just took on e3. White can take back with the rook probably
Yeah, either
because
with the rook or with the queen.
yeah, but
Well,
then
if it,
knight e5 I wasn't so happy about.
knight f5 can can happen in either of those cases. So rook takes e3, there is still knight f5. In that case, white is kind of forced to take on d8.
Right.
Knight takes e3. I guess that's what we are going to see now in the game because they
Yes, we
play those
are.
moves.
But if that's the goal for white, then white had to take with the rook. So the difference is that now the pair of rooks got exchanged as well in addition to the bishop for the knight. So black has kind of a backward pawn on d5, which makes it feel that white is slightly better. But
White is better, and white could play queen d4 here, which, well, not immediately, but potentially creates a threat of queen takes c4. And right now, probably white wants to make sure that her e5 pawn is not hanging. And so, but definitely black has to deal with that issue on d5 as well as the pin that queen
right,
d4 would
and
create.
also, and white play this tricky move. Of course, black can protect the pawn with b7 to b5, have a backup, and then white can think of maybe preparing somehow f4, f5. Oh, that's another way. Just take care of the background problem.
And perhaps what white should play for here is to push the pawn to f4, f5, which is what we are seeing here immediately. Let's say h3, king h2, and then perhaps rook f1 as well. And if white manages to get in f5, f6, or f5, e6, that could create problems against her king.
And that's exactly what white is doing. Black has to be very, very careful. But with that said, with careful play, it probably should be still holding.
Probably.
Maybe
I guess she prefers some f6. Not certain
probably
about that.
maybe now f6 is possibility. It's of course weakening, but opens
Yes,
the
black needs to
e5.
take back. She doesn't want to hurry with that because she needs to take back with the g pawn,
Right.
and that's quite seriously weakening, even though it does open the e5.
Well, the good thing from Black's perspective is that White is not threatening to play f5 for the moment because the pawn on e5 is under double pressure. So White would lose the pawn if White would advance the f pawn. On the other hand, if the rook goes back to e1 to protect the pawn, then there is no support on the f5 square.
So I guess what white should play for is just to play black rook d1 and force black to go back to d8 to defend the d5 weakness, and then just slowly improve the position with, let's say, king h2, and then think about perhaps pushing a4 and take this one slowly. And probably black should hold, but it's somewhat unpleasant. While g4 is quite an aggressive move.
And that, no slowly going on here. White is
No
quite
slowness here.
ambitious and goes for the kill immediately, provoking Black to play g6, probably.
The argument for playing g4 immediately rather than preparing it first is that perhaps white didn't want to allow black to play h5 and stabilize the position in that way a little bit.
So now White gets to play f5, which loses.
Yes, but do you want to hurry with that move?
Well, I'm probably gonna do it while I can.
It's definitely a possibility. Just wondering if improving the king's position first. Well, the question is, do you want to allow f6 or not?
The other option is maybe go in a completely different direction and play queen d6, now that Black allowed that. f5, that's the most disciplined move or principal move. And the queen h4, king g2 protects everything just on time. Looks unpleasant for Black.
It does, and black has to be careful that some f5, f6
Okay, let's
doesn't
check
weaken the queen
the other
seriously.
game. Okay, queen h4, we expect king g2 most likely. White is definitely having the initiative here and very dangerous for Black. So let's move back to the other game that we haven't talked much about yet, other than the King's Indian, and they were repeating the same variation, the Danish variation as Sophie drew the last game in, and a different variation of it. So right now, she just played f4. White has a significant space advantage in the center, but it's very typical for the King's Indian. Black is often allowing, in fact, provoking White to gain space and maybe overextend herself, if not playing precisely, and then make a counter punch. But
Yes.
objectively speaking, of course, White's position is very, very good here. And I had many similar positions with White, and I really enjoy playing such type of position.
Usually by this point, black wants to have some kind of a counterplay in the center. And it reminds me of some Bellini structures if black would push e6 and e takes d5. And the fact that black cannot really play b5 and then not even create a counter threat in the center, and white already has so much space advantage, and the king's position is weakened by this h7 h5 move, makes black's position quite precarious. And I think I really like this move of playing e4 e5, and this is a typical idea in this kind of structures: e4 e5 takes and then f5, and then this move creates an outpost for a knight on e4, which, while it does sacrifice a pawn, on the other hand, I think black's king can get into real danger very soon.
And just strategically, of course, that one of the main concepts is to lock up that bishop on g7, using her own pawn on e5 to limit its potential. So it's a very common sacrifice in such openings like the Benoni or the King's Indian. So it's a very nice little positional pawn sacrifice.
Exactly, it closes in the bishop and takes away the e5 square as well. So black cannot put a knight there.
Right. So now I expect white probably to trade on g6 and then put a knight to the e4.
And then there is another square on g5 for that knight.
So even though Sophie is behind on the clock significantly, but her position is significantly better at the same go. So we'll see if she'll manage to uh, conclude this attack nicely with the limited time that she has left.
Yes, apart from internet issues, and also black used a lot of time already, so she is only about 2.5 minutes ahead. She was more than 5 minutes ahead, so the time advantage decreased as well significantly.
So if we go back to our other game again, a little bit, a few moves have happened since we checked on that, and Teresa moved her queen to f4. That was the last move, and black before that moved her queen back to e7.
Which does fit in the plan very well, the plan of playing f5, f6, and then perhaps queen g5 and creating serious threats against the king, which will force black's queen to an incredibly passive square on f8, and then white can bring in the rook as well. So
So
black is
just
in
a
trouble here.
few words about the two players. Teresa is from Indonesia, and her FIDE rating is 1972, which is very close to her online chess.com rating, as we see, 1951. While Zoe Tang, on the other hand, her USCF American rating is almost 2100. It's 2097. Her FIDE rating is 1871, and her chess.com rating is 1917. So it's quite different. And of course, it's important to note that online chess requires somewhat different skills than over the board chess. So that can easily explain for all these different ratings. So white's position is very nice. And now the question is how or if to prepare the f6 more. I would even consider g5. Looks like an attractive move, and maybe then f6, or otherwise perhaps playing rook d2 just to defend the e2 square in case we would push f6 and black would take the pawn and we want to take back with our pawn, so black does not have a check on e2. So I would ponder between playing rook d2 right now or to play g5. Those would be my two candidate moves.
And
And
both
we
of
are
them look
getting
incredibly strong.
Yeah, we're looking at, we're getting into blitz territory now, both players under 5 minutes, and she played f6 immediately,
Which I
which
would
is
consider a mistake,
a mistake,
actually.
because it allows that aforementioned check on e2. So if pawn takes, that would be kind of a blunder, because of queen e2 check, and if the king moves back, the problem is black would capture white's rook with a check again. And then the queen with yet another check on c2 could retreat the king's side to defend black's king. So this is definitely a mistake. White should have been patient and making sure to avoid that queen e2 check. Most logical to me seems rook d2, although even some king move, perhaps to h1 or probably h1 could be considered, or g5 as I mentioned earlier.
Yes, patience was key here, so black got another chance to come back into this game.
And she took. I wonder what was Teresa's plan right now.
Maybe she missed that there is queen e2 check after ef.
I hope for her that she did not miss queen e2. That's not a very difficult move to see just two moves ahead.
It's not, but on the other hand, there is a lot of pressure on her.
Yes, of course. It's always harder when you have a lot on the line versus us just commentating about it.
Exactly.
I remember being in that position when people are watching and you're competing for the scholarship. Because the first year it was at Webster, I was in that position playing for this first place scholarship. And then having everyone watching is so nerve-wracking.
And You can definitely make uncharacteristically big mistakes under that pressure. It's hard to get used to, and online chess is also it's tricky, even trickier. How did you deal with that pressure, Anna?
Not well. I ended up tied for second place and coming in third, so I crumbled under pressure against first place, which was playing against Alice Dong, who won the scholarship that year. Just because I get very, very nervous when people are watching me, especially because I feel like I have to play the moves they see that are perfect, and so then I start getting into my head more than focusing on the game itself.
Yes, that's very tough.
And especially when the player is higher rated than you.
Yeah, that happens. That happens. That you have this feeling that everybody else in the room knows that. Oh well, she should play this move, and you make a different move, and you see people like that's a lot of pressure. Playing chess competitively, well, definitely prepares you for high tension situations in life. So in that sense, it's useful.
Yesterday we had Jim on the stream, and that was a wonderful conversation and interview. And one of the things he said that I was able to take away from the interview was that when you're playing these high-rated players, especially like people my rating and myself, is you don't, instead of psyching yourself out on how good they are and what their rating is, you should be thinking about maybe today they'll bring their B game instead of their A game, and then you're not going to be playing against this very high rated opponent. Instead, you could be playing someone who's playing at your level. So you have that chance, and it helps with that mindset. So I think coming back to competitive chess, that's a new mindset I'll start bringing with me to these tournaments and my games when I'm playing someone significantly higher. Is that, yeah, they're higher, but maybe today they brought their B game. And if they have their B game and I have my A game, then I might just win.
Exactly. That's a good way of thinking about it. And
So in the
it also
meantime, Black is up a pawn now in the Zoe game. So Black is expected to win, but of course, with little time left for both players, anything can still happen. And if we go back to the other game, wow, wow, a lot has happened. The Black King is in a very delicate position on h6, and Black is a pawn up, so you never know. White needs to prove herself.
it's tricky for white as well, and white has a passed a pawn still, which is
Oh
also quite
my, the
interesting.
h-check stop is locked. She's down to under a minute already. So that's a very scary thought. I'd be very nervous in her place. Even though her position is good objectively, having so little time is always scary. Or did Black just blunder a piece? Oops. I think there was some queen d2 check and then taking the
Bishop takes
bishop.
f5, or well, bishop. There might have been knight
There is
f4
knight
actually.
f4. Mhm.
But yes, what's scary for white here is that there is only plus 2 seconds per move, and
So
so it's not.
now,
Now
checkmate
there is a
threat.
black defended. Oh, that's nice spin.
Oh, nice cute threat with a spin. So probably queen f6, but then there is g3 still.
Yeah, why should be winning here, objectively speaking? I mean, this passed a pawn is also making sure that the black rook can never join the game, the defense, because a6, a7 is very strong as well, and g3 seems like just winning a piece after moving the h4 knight. So white is doing very
So
well,
wait, king
except for,
h7. Black can play king h7 now.
I guess.
But didn't. So now
King,
king
king
h2.
h2.
Then black looks like, what can black
There's a
do?
lot of pin here. I mean, I would allow white's position if not for the fact that
Oh,
she
queen
doesn't have
h7
time.
unpicking the knight. So there was no king h2 because the queen was hanging.
Oh no.
Now
Oh
black,
no.
black is doing good.
Yes,
Wow.
but I guess time will decide potentially can decide the game here.
9 seconds. 9 seconds. That's not
9 seconds.
much.
I think she's panicking because of that.
Choices, choices. To trade queens or not to trade? Probably trading should be good. Black is up a bunch of pawns.
Yeah, black is doing very fine actually. I'm sure she was losing, but now the tables have turned. I mean, at this point, queen takes g3 is very tempting.
Yeah, I think it was already the last move as well.
But now that the rook is on a8, it's even better because the pawn is blocked and white just lost the full tempo.
Yeah, so
And the
black is
b2
up one pawn.
and the b2 and the b2 pawn is hanging as well. Perhaps white could make a draw.
Wow, king h5. That's not a very good move.
No, and rook a5 is very strong actually.
The tables turned again.
They are turning. They are turning. Yes.
Very
Sophie
quickly.
seems to get really, I don't know if lucky's the right word, but it seems like lucky in the end of her games almost always throughout this whole tournament. She's always like very low on time pressure and just playing on the increment and then still is winning.
Yes, it's very hard to play with so little time on the clock. Will this game end up in a peaceful draw after rook a2?
That would mirror very much her yesterday's last game. But here she may even get more than a draw. Because now she's up a pawn. She's black missed the rook a2.
Yes, the dust has settled. And it seems like 2 seconds is enough for her to make moves, which is good news. Because it doesn't seem like internet issues will decide this game. And the other game is also pretty interesting.
Yeah, let's switch back to that one. Wow, we have a rook endgame there. Where white has a g pawn that's almost ready to come off. So white is doing very well. Oh, and on top of it, the rook on
Oh
h5
no,
maybe.
Sophie ran out of time.
Oh my.
What?
Yeah, it just
Oh
said
no.
maybe
Oh
internet
no.
issues or something, but it just said
Oh,
black won by
wow.
timeout.
Spoke too soon.
Wow. That's unexpected after all this turnaround of events.
Right, it went from 9 seconds to point. Yeah, nine
Yeah,
seconds.
she was doing fine.
Wow.
This must have been an internet issue because the moves, any move, king g3, knight f3, they were not difficult at all.
Oh no, that's so tragic.
Wow.
It is.
Okay.
That's why I always tell all my students, don't get down to those seconds because any little accident can happen and then there is no comeback time. So it's best to avoid getting down to the increments.
Yes, I
That's so sad.
I know that from personal experience as well.
Yeah. So let's go to the game that's still ongoing and that's about to end.
And white is winning by
Like,
one tempo actually.
yeah, by one tempo,
Because
almost.
if the pawn managed to get to a2, then it would be a theoretical draw. But right now it's winning.
Yeah, the white queen is zigzagging closer to the queen side, to the black pawn.
And eventually queen b4 check will be the problem for black because then the king has to go to a2 and then white just makes a move with the king and then next move is black is losing the single
And
pawn
that's
and then the game
exactly
is
what
over.
just had happened. Yep. Okay. Wow. So
Wow,
I
what an
think we have a
exciting
queen
first
to
round.
take. Wow, very dramatic, especially Sophie's game.
Yes. Yes, it's a tragedy for her.
Do we know how many minutes break the girls have?
Um, I don't know the break schedule. Let me see if I have it pulled up.
I'm not sure.
Usually in online tournaments, the breaks between rounds are not very long. Is that right?
Right.
So let's talk maybe about the other two girls. We didn't talk too much about them. Amalia Vargas is from Ecuador, and her FIDE rating is only 1520, which doesn't sound that high, but you can see here her chess.com rating, on the other hand, is 2071. So it's quite a big difference, and obviously she's clearly better than a 1500 player.
Yes, on
At
the
least,
the reason for that might be is that the last year and a half was tough and
no
special and tough at the
opportunities to
same
play
time, and
FIDE.
there were no opportunities. And so right now there are a lot of talents who are way higher, way have a way higher level knowledge than the rating would show, and so they
Right.
just didn't
A
have a
lot of
chance to gain
underrated.
FIDE rating.
Exactly, especially with the younger players who used the pandemic to improve their chess but didn't have the opportunity to compete and gain rating. They'll need some time to catch up, and they are very dangerous opponents, I think, this year and maybe next until they catch up with their strengths.
For example, um, this kid Arthur Go, who almost made the Grandmaster honor in Charlotte, and yeah, I was trying to beat him with black, and he defended very well, and I had the chance, but I made only one miss, and then he just played perfectly defended, and he almost made the Grandmaster honor in that tournament. And in Las Vegas, he won the tournament after with 2350 FIDE rating. So that clearly shows that his real rating is anything but 2350, and the reason why he's not over 2500 is only because of the lack of opportunities the past year and a half.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that was an amazing result from him. And I think he's only like 13 or 14 years old. So it's pretty impressive that he played, most of his opponents were grandmasters in Las Vegas. That was a very impressive showing by young Arthur, who
And
played many
so
of our Spice copycats.
and so many players are like that, and therefore I'm not surprised that players' chess.com rating are now way higher than their FIDE rating would indicate. That's probably the reason why her rating would be that low.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Do we have links yet for the next games?
No links yet.
Not yet.
And so about the who is the other player we should introduce?
So we did talk about, I think, Sophie a little bit. She's from New York, and she's the highest rated of the four girls. She has, of course, now game two. She's in a must-win situation to earn the right to play an Armageddon game. Uh, there is Teresa. She's from Indonesia, WFN, and her FIDE rating is 1972. Then we just talked about Amalia from Ecuador, who is clearly underrated based on her FIDE rating. And there is Zoe Peng, who is from Portland, Oregon. She is almost 2100 USCF. She has played numerous uh, Season Polgar Foundation Girls Invitationals in the past when it was still over the board at the campus of Webster University, and she's playing now on the online version. So let's see who will move on to the final after the next round.
But there are two players in must-win situations, and so well either Zoe will win, and then we see an Armageddon, and the same goes for Sophie, or the other player just advances. So two must-win situation games.
Yes.
Anna, while we are waiting for the next games to start, I just want to ask how many uh, Susan Polgar Foundation
Did I
Girls
play it?
Invitational events did you play?
Oh my goodness. Let's see. 'Cause I only missed 1 year. So I started playing in 2010, I believe, because 2009 my sister played. So I played 10, 11, 12 is when I won the scholarship, 13, 14, 15, and I think I skipped 16 and came in 17th. So I played in about 7 of them, but I've been involved with all of them since 2010, whether it was playing or helping with the girls or organizing. So it's
So
my
should we take
favorite event,
a
and it has been for years.
should we take a few minutes break since the games haven't been started?
Yeah. Let's see.
We could.
Or is it harder to go offline and then back online?
Oh no, it's fine.
Mm,
Are we off?
One, and we are back, guys. So
Okay.
game 2 has started right now. I have Zoe's game with Teresa pulled up. Are you both able to view the games yet?
yes. Yes,
I saw one of the games so far.
and Teresa only has to make a draw here, and she is playing an extremely solid opening, which is the semi-Tarash. Very hard to win with white. Not impossible, but a lot of drawing tendencies here, so it does make sense for opening choice. And the other game, Sophie needs to win with black, and so she chose to play the Sicilian
This is
Toimerov,
a
and we get to see a hedgehog structure.
right. This is usually a slow game for black, and black is kind of waiting for white to overextend or
It's a
try to break through with b5 or d5 in the right moment, but of course not anytime soon while the black queen is still on c7.
It is a smart choice though if you are in a must-win situation for black because all of the pieces are on the board and anything can happen. And with white, you constantly have to watch for this b5, d5 breaks. So it's a wise choice in a must-win
I think
situation that
especially,
she's in right now.
yeah, I agree with you, Peter, and I think also in general for shorter time controls, the hedgehog is a good opening choice because white is the one that needs to usually do something, and black is just maneuvering oftentimes on the seventh and eighth rank.
Yes, white should play either for some a4 a5, which is not happening now because she already put rook on c1 and the pawn is on b2 as well. So she went for another plan with f4, but that potentially could be dangerous too because she weakens her king a little bit, and after black potentially manages to play some d6, d5, you could imagine a scenario when black could take over the initiative. So for now, this game is pretty interesting.
Okay, let's go back to the other one.
And the
It's
other one,
still very typical-ish.
yes, black chose a very solid opening, and it's on white to prove somehow that she can create something out of this opening. But right now it seems to me the black position is just very very solid. She has control over the c file, and generally speaking, if you exchange all the heavy pieces here, then black should be the favorite because of the distance pass pawn, the ability to create a distant pass pawn on the queen side. So I like black's chances here. The other usual plan for white is to play a breakthrough in the center with some d5 and then takes or d5 takes and e5, and that I don't think it works well here either because black's knight is already very well positioned on a5 and she could jump to c4 in that scenario. So I think white is some kind of a trouble if you consider that she needs to win.
Yeah, I mean, white has two plans here in general. One that you mentioned, Peter, with the d5 breakthrough, and the other one is to try to play somehow queen f4 and knight g5 and kind of try to develop an attack there, but it's a little bit far-fetched in this case. Also, white has to be careful with that a pawn, because if white is not careful, that can disappear quickly as well.
Agreed. So far Teresa seems to be the favorite if something doesn't change the course of the game. Perhaps this is an interesting moment
That's right.
to try to play let's say rook c8 and d5 e5 knight d4. Yeah, in the meantime, white is using a lot of time to figure out what her plan should be, which is exactly what black is playing for. Sophie is playing for just keep the position going, keep the game going, and when the two players will get low on time, then anything could happen. That's the strategy. What do you think about that, Susan?
Let me get back to my board here. Lost it for a moment.
Mm-hmm. Or
Okay, so which
the what what Analia Vargas is playing versus Sophie
Oh wow, she
Suzuki,
played F5.
and she
I
did made
didn't
a
like that.
very committed
I,
decision indeed.
Wow.
I did not like weakening that e5 square because the black knight will appear there and it will be like a monster. So I'd be very happy from black perspective if my opponent plays f5 in this case,
And the
because
knights
this
are
is
just
a
jumping around. Knight, one of them could go to e5, as Susan mentioned, and the other also could go to, let's say, knight d7, knight c5. Lot of juicy dark squares around the center, and it's unclear what is white playing for here actually, because all of e6, the e6 square that f5 would attack is very well protected.
So as I mentioned earlier, I think such hedgehog type of positions are easier to play with black with short time control, because white needs to try to come up with a plan on how to make progress, and it's not so simple. There isn't like an easy way that white can do that. And as we've seen, when white is trying to overextend by moves like f5, it can backfire and actually black can get the advantage all of a sudden. So for a change, Sophie is up on the clock significantly. She's probably not used to that feeling too much, at least based on what I've seen the last 2 days. But it might be a pleasant change of time management for her.
It
Yes,
seems
it
her
is.
internet's fixed now too, so hopefully she won't have any more delays causing her to lose that much time again.
That would be great. Yeah, and then she leading with in time also has to do with the fact that her position is actually objectively just very nice, and white is
Yeah,
struggling to
it's of
find
course
good moves.
always easier to play when you're doing well all the time.
Agreed. Easier to play when it goes both ways. It's easier to play with well when, well, if you have more time, it puts the opponent under more pressure, and if your opponent is under more pressure in the game, then it's also just takes more time to figure out the way out. So you want to take into account both, and black is doing great in both regards, and white is doing the opposite of that. So in that game, if this remains to be the narrative, then we might see another random game potentially. But it's obviously
That's
still
right.
very early to say.
So in the meantime, I looked up the birth years of the girls. So Sophie Maurice Suzuki is born in 2002. So she is, I guess, at least 18 years old, about to turn 19. Teresa from Indonesia is born in 2004, so around 16, 17. Amalia from Ecuador is born 2005, so around 15, 16. And Zoe Teng is the youngest by far. She's born in 2008, so she's only around 12, 13 years old.
Wow.
Wow,
So it's
she's
interesting
putting
to
pretty
see the
well.
age difference. Yeah, so Zoe is very young. So let's go back to Zoe's game. And they traded all the rooks. All the rooks are gone. And white is trying to attack, but there are very few pieces left on the board. Only the queen, bishop, and knight for both sides. And as Peter mentioned earlier, if all the major pieces would be traded, in which means in this case the queens, in addition to the rooks, which are already gone, that position would definitely favor black. Until the queens are on the board, white may develop an attack, so black has to be careful.
Yeah, yes, she needs to be. I think the what white wants here is probably sacrifice a bishop on h7 as her chance, but I don't believe it works out. And the reason being is that, let's say if you calculate bishop takes h7, king h7, queen h5, king knight g5, Then worst case scenario, Black could try to go away with the king, but also she can just play queen c1 check, king h2, queen f4 check, and then white needs to go back to g1 with the king, and after queen c1 it's a perpetual, and black only needs a draw here. She doesn't need to win the game. Draw is perfectly fine for her to advance, and so bishop h7 does not work move by move, and that means that white needs to come up with another plan, which is going to be very difficult because this bishop b7 bishop hitting the f3 knight, well, it doesn't seem very
Yeah,
good
quite
for
in
white
a
now.
tough position, indeed. Okay, so if we go, oh, lots of things happened in the other game. Um, Black played unexpectedly bishop h6, and then took a pawn on f5. So now the
Hmm.
issue is, I think, that if white would take back after queen c6, I think white had no way to stop the checkmate on g2
Well, that's a
without
beautiful
losing
and very
significant.
unexpected tactics.
Yes, yes. So now she's a pawn down, which of course is not good, which means we may have an Armageddon game coming up if Sophie, Suzuki, is able to convert this to a win, which she should be able to do, being a pawn up, being significantly up the clock as well.
Well, yes, she won a pawn. On the other hand, at least white got the d5 square, which makes her case not completely hopeless, I believe. I mean, black should be much better
Well, it's
objectively
certainly
speaking.
not over yet.
Black still needs to show precision here, I believe. Knight e5 looks like an interesting move that I'm not certain about if that's the best one necessarily, but that's one that comes to mind other than the, let's say, more obvious f takes e4. It's interesting. Why does have some? Because the position is getting simplified a little bit. After f takes e4, if we exchange everything, then black potentially could remain with a few weaknesses on b6 and d6, and then the d5 square is weak as well. And so even though she's a pawn now, white does seem to get counter chances to come back into this game. And that's why I'm wondering if there is an alternative to f takes e4, and that's why that's what Sophie is wondering about too at the moment.
Yeah, it feels that there may be some kind of tactic, something more forceful than knight e5, but let's say taking on e4 and a number of times. But it's
You mean like
probably
f takes
how
e4,
to.
knight takes e4, knight takes e4, bishop e4, and some rook takes e4, and then queen c6 kind of tactic?
That's what I was looking at, but I couldn't make it quite work yet because, oh, look at that,
And
f4.
she closed the position. Mm. It was a very
Yeah,
interesting
well, and
positioning
she's still a.
decision. She is, and f4 might be a very good move actually. I kind of like it. She wants this position to be
I
closed,
think
and then
definitely it's like a good practical choice in any case.
it does. This one
Because
probably
that's
she wants to take.
one of the hard challenges in practical players, how much time to spend in the quest of perfection, and that's a very tough judgment call and balance for a lot of players. They are searching, let's say, for an immediate win, and then it may not even be there. In the meantime, they waste a lot of time, and then they pay for it later. So I think f4, after she spent, I think, a minute or two, it was definitely a wise choice to move on and make a practical move. That's a good move, even if not the very best objectively, once you check with the engine later. But practically speaking, it maintains the extra pawn, it maintains the advantage, and let's just keep playing and keep the time and advantage on the clock.
Yes, it is a wise choice made relatively quickly, and I like it objectively as well. Actually, it might objectively even better than fe4 as well. So good practical decision made quickly.
Right, and now black is threatening to play f3 to weaken further white's king side. Eventually the black bishop can come into the play from c8. So black has very, very good chances here.
Yeah, so far, how this game is going, the Armageddon is the most likely scenario.
Yes. So let's check on the other game for a moment. Oh, now another pair of pieces are gone. Now it's only Queen Bishop against Queen Knight. And
Yes,
it's White's turn right now. And the d4 pawn is under attack at the moment. So probably White will need to retreat and protect that with Queen d2 or Queen e3. But if Queen d2, Knight b3. So probably Queen e3 makes more sense.
and after knight c6, white is kind of forced to enter into a queen endgame, which is also to black's benefit, I believe, because in queen's endgames, it's a if you can create a distant pass pawn, that's usually a huge advantage. And probably white is able to make a draw because black kings would be weak after that, but the thing is the draw is not enough for white. So I still like black's chances to make a draw here quite a lot. What do you think about? Do you agree, Susan, with this or?
Yeah, I mean, White has a difficult position, I think, and especially given that even making a draw would mean a loss, right? And being knocked out or getting to the final. But let's remember, though, that even the players who don't get to the finals, they still continue on and play another mini match to decide who wins the third and fourth prizes, respectively.
Exactly.
Okay, let's see if anything happened in the other game. Yes, bunch of things. Wow, look at it. Some things are happening here.
That's
Bishop
beautiful. This
d5.
queen d7 is quite wow. Just wow.
What,
Bishop takes
what is
d5, knight
played?
f5.
All of a sudden, both black bishops are under attack. So if black takes the knight and f5, all of a sudden, white has revived her position. That looked pretty miserable.
That's correct. That's correct. This knight f5 is. I wanted to say that black tricked white because of this queen on the c5, but maybe it's the opposite actually. This knight f5 is a beautiful move.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's not sure how black should react here because the h6 bishop is hanging, so I guess she just doesn't have a
Oh,
choice
I
really.
think Susan left.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Oh, I think she's
Okay,
back
I'm
now.
back.
Okay, good, good.
Sorry.
All right, no problem.
So black is still thinking, and now we're getting again almost to this blitz territory, where the
We do.
players have only about 5 minutes left for the game. And black must be in a cold shower right now, in having a nice, comfortable pawn up position. All of a sudden, things are getting tactical and not so great. A lot of things hanging. Ooh, look at that, bishop g2. Now, white can take one bishop after another. So I'm not sure what exactly is black's hope here.
She probably wants to play some queen c6 check, I believe.
Well, but first, the h6 bishop could be taken.
So knight h6, king g7, king g2. Yeah, and then black needs to spend one more move to take an h6, and then it is white's turn. Well,
Yeah,
there is
white
f
has done
f3.
another.
Well, maybe there is interesting line f3 check, like knight h6, king g7, king g2, f3, and then after bishop takes f3, knight takes f3. If king takes f3, then the h3 pawn would be hanging with the check. So maybe that's what she is calculating.
Yeah. Few minutes to go. Okay, knight h6, king g7 came, and now, wow, knight f5, very tricky move.
which is a good move because it does block the c8 h3 diagonal. That makes
Correct.
black's plan not possible to take on h3. She could have waited until king g2, f3 takes, and then knight takes knight f5 check. That was also a possibility. Well, actually, it's not because queen takes f5, queen takes f5, knight e1 check, intermediate check. It would be a problem. So this knight f5
Right.
check might be just very very well timed. It's white is fighting very well here.
Yeah, white is looking good all of a sudden, which will be bad news for Sophie because if she loses this game, then obviously she's eliminated from the final.
How the tables turned in just a
Yep,
few
pretty
moves.
amazing.
Bishop takes d5,
So,
pretty much seemingly concluding the game, winning the second pawn, and knight f5 all of a sudden, cold shower, and bishop g2 might have been a mistake, a very serious one.
so it's kind of funny that white is up a bishop, but black has three f pawns, which is quite unusual to have triple pawns, which is obviously doesn't quite equal a bishop. If they would be nicely separate on separate files, on the EFG files, it would be, I would probably take black or I would be okay.
Let's see,
But
if we reposition this f5 pawn to g5, suddenly the situation will be quite complicated. But because all of them are white's triple pawn, then white has this idea of playing just king h2, clearing the way for the e1 rook, and then white should be actually just completely winning. So yes, this is quite a peculiar event that we have three pawns on the f file, but it's not something that is good for black.
okay, let's look at the other one. And finally, we're down to queen endgames, and white is in trouble, as we predicted, because of black's outside inside pawn. D5 came, trying to
And
use the.
she attempted a desperate counterplay, but it doesn't seem like it works out.
So if Zoe loses this game, that means that Teresa is in the final against the winner of the other match.
We might not get any Armageddon, it seems like. Yes, White is in serious trouble this game.
Yeah, Teresa, I think, played a pretty solid game
We have a few
without
comments
any.
in the chat as well. So someone said, great stream. Thank you, Judith, Susan, Anna, and Peter. And then
Thank you.
Lemur Expert said how the tables have turned and loving the stream.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so black is certainly in, oh, black doesn't even want to win anymore, even though she's in a winning position probably. Just wants to secure getting to the final, being practical.
Which is a wise decision. I believe it's a wise decision. I remember I was a knockout Hungarian championship around 2000, 2007 or 8 when I was playing a
Wow, draw.
blitz KO, and my opponent draw was enough for him, and he was a knight up in an endgame, like just a pure knight up, and he offered me a draw.
So Zoe and Teresa drew.
And that means that Teresa is progressing to the final of the event.
That's right. So let's see the other game, the remaining game that we have. If Sophie can pull another miracle of surviving, or in fact, here it's not even enough for her to survive. She needs to turn it around. There was this really bad position with the triple F pawns. She managed to come back yesterday in the final round in a lost position with a draw. In the previous round, she made a turnaround on the board, but the clock ran out. So here she needs a miracle to not only save this game, but to win this game with black. But you never know when the players only have 2-3 minutes left on the clock each.
You never know. And until these pawns are alive, something could potentially happen. Let's imagine if white takes on g6 now after hg. Suddenly the position would be quite interesting. And now actually white untriples black pawns. So I can see a scenario how this game would
Turn
become very
around.
interesting actually.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's a very instructive moment on how not to undouble or untriple your opponent's pawn. As you just mentioned, not to take with the rook on g6, white took with the bishop on e5, falling for the same trap in concept of undoubling those tripled pawns, or untripling rather.
Yes, she's attempting a concrete counterplay to fight for the g file, and that's a double edged decision at least. It might work out for white, but maybe black can come back into this game after all. That's also quite a possibility. For example, rook h6 here looks like an interesting option, which black did play.
Let's see if there is some tactic here for white. Maybe I'm looking at something that's maybe crazy, probably doesn't work. Queen g2, rook h5, and then rook d6. But
Yes, that's
there
an
is
interesting
no
idea.
need for that, just simplicity. Rook c5 is best, and maybe tripling up all the major pieces on the g file, and then trying to checkmate on g8. And
It might work out
Sophie is
for
under a
white.
minute.
And yes, rook g1 would be of the plan for white, and then queen g2. And eventually, let's say we imagine two rooks on the g file, and then if we exchange the queens, let's say we are queen g2 and queen d5, then there is going to be some checkmate threats with bishop f7. So there will be some checkmate tactics connected to checkmating the black king, and is probably still in serious trouble, objectively speaking.
Yeah, and being 22 seconds on the clock doesn't help in an already bad position as it is.
No, it doesn't. I mean, if you are on time in time trouble, if your king is weak as well, that doesn't spell good news usually.
Yeah, so let's see what does Amalia do now. Probably queen g2 or rook g1 would be the logical choices in either order.
Yes, and then after that, black will need to defend against rook g8 checkmate. Probably she needs to play some h6 now, because otherwise she's in big trouble. And even after h6 she should be in trouble, but that's probably still the best decision for her. Because if she allows queen g2, then it should be game over. And she did play h6, which is her best
Yeah.
chance.
So now there is rook g6. That looks quite tempting, or just retreating as well.
And then that black can at least take and then play king h7 and still kind of stay in the game for a little longer, but it feels like white should be winning.
And now queen g2, and
Oh,
then
actually,
there is also rook d6 probably, but
The computer is saying it's made in 6, but
oh,
then it just changed
I thought
after
queen
well,
that.
g2 threatening rook h6 was
probably, but now after rook f7, it should be game over actually.
yeah.
Winning the queen. She
What?
took on f5, which is also, I mean, still winning. And then black lost on time, but in a hopeless position, we must say.
Okay, so it's finished. No Armageddon.
No Armageddon. That's a heartbreak for Sophie though, because at some point she must have been winning in this game.
Yep.
And
Okay,
so
so I think the players will have at least a 5-minute break, I assume. So I think I'll take a break on my end,
Okay, thank you for joining us, Susan.
and
thank
I'll
you so
try to be
much.
back sometime towards the end.
Sounds great.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you both.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. Okay, well, exciting. What are your takeaways? I think this is your first girls' invitational you've been a part of, since you never got to see it held in person here at Webster University. and last year there's a different commentator. So
Yes.
from just watching this event, what do you think? Do you think there's anything that could be improved upon? How do you feel about all girls events?
Well, I think it's a very interesting event and a lot of pressure on the players. And it's fun commentating on it from the safety of our homes. But for the players, they are under a lot of pressure, and we can see that changing. Well, as
My
far as the
nerves
event,
used to get so bad during this event when I had to play in it, and even when I wasn't playing it back in 2019, the last time it was held here in person at Webster University. My youngest sister competed in the tournament, and just every time she had to play her game, I was so nervous for her, and the whole wait, I truly got to experience what it's like to be a parent or a coach, and you're just waiting and you're watching and you're hoping they remember everything you've gone over and hoping no blunders happen, but then also seeing things happen in real time and knowing you have no control over it. It's so stressful.
you feel the helplessness.
Exactly. So I think
Yeah,
in that
this
sense it's better to be the player because even though it's going on and you're equally as stressed, it seems so much worse being the parent or the coach or the observer.
at least as a player you have the feeling that you have control over the situation. So in that sense, yes, being a parent and a coach can be very very stressful, very very stressful as well. Well, as a commentator, it's a little bit different. Mm, we
Yeah.
can take a more laid back approach and just evaluate objectively how the
Right.
players um,
So since we're
manage
gonna
to
have
play.
a few minutes while these games are getting set up, I'm gonna take a moment to go get some water and pause the stream. Uh,
Sounds good.
you're also welcome to go. Okay, let's see. Do I want to use my Be Right Back stream or do I want to use the Girls Invitational? We'll use this one. Okay, be right back, guys. See you in a moment, Peter.
See you later, Anna.
we are back, guys. Thank you to the 6 viewers we have right now. Once again, it's me, myself, and I, Anastasia Vashevany, the best streamer out there, obviously. And then we have
Exactly.
GM Peter Prohaska joining us to do the commentary for the analysis. Okay.
Welcome, everybody.
Okay.
I hope we all learned something today. I already made one blunder, so that goes to show you that you can make any number of blunders and still become a grandmaster. So I'm here for you to give some hope.
Okay, game one has started for the final.
So let's then jump in and check those games out.
So competing for the important scholarship, the highest level scholarship, we have Teresa Singh and Analia. And they are in game one of two for the final for the scholarship, the big scholarship.
Exactly. And then we see the other game already in progress for the third place.
Okay, and then we're also going to pull up the next game for the. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Still learning this thing. Nope, see, I accidentally pulled up the same game twice. That doesn't do very well. Here we go. Can you have access to all the games now, Peter?
I do. Yes.
Great.
I do actually. And
Okay,
in
so
one of the games, let's start with this one with between Zoe and Sophie. Because I'm not sure what's happening here. Black decided to play the Queen's Gambit accepted, and then White played Knight C3, which is already a move. It's not very popular, and after A6, A4. That's a lot. I mean, that's understandable. Preparing against, I mean, just not allowing B5. But after Knight C6, A5, I have never seen this idea. I'm wondering if the D4 pawn is just not hanging. And, it seems like two pawns for
it
not too much
definitely,
combat.
with my calculations, which are definitely not as good as yours, it definitely seems like that d4 pawn is hanging.
And the only justification I could find for white is that if maybe there is some knight d5 idea, putting pressure on the c7 pawn, but it seems very unlikely that that would work for white, but I guess you never know. Interesting. The safe move is I'm not sure where to put it, but I guess Sophie will decide, and she decided to take on d4 with the knight, which is probably a better decision, considering that white is fighting for the d5 square. I'm still deciding whether this is a genius idea, continuing up with some e3. Maybe this is like an opening preparation, or if it is, it's a genius one. So I guess let's have a look at this game a little bit later, and then jump into the other one, which is played for the championship title for the Susan Polgar Foundation Girls Invitational.
Yes, okay, I'm going to switch to the other game. So this one's the one for the big money, the big scholarships.
It is. And so the players must be under a lot of pressure. And the game started with the Berlin defense when white played queen e2, which is a pretty non-standard line. Usually white just leaves the e4 pawn hanging, or potentially plays d3 or knight c3. None of which has happened here. Instead, white opted for queen e2, and then followed up with this plan of playing h3, c3, and then putting the rook on d1 and d4, which is a pretty, well, ambitious plan, I would say. But it seems like it might have worked out for white, because usually black should be able to break the center quicker with castling and then playing d5. And here allowing all of white's moves and just occupying the center. I believe white should have a very nice position, and he's fighting definitely for an advantage. And the question is how exactly? And that's always the big question. Right now, if knight takes f5, probably black wants to play knight takes f5 and then just attack the d4 pawn and find enough
We now have
counterplay.
7 viewers. Welcome, all 7 of you.
Welcome.
We're very excited to have you joining our stream.
Welcome, guys.
Yesterday we had as many as 80 viewers at one time, so maybe today we can get back up to that.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan.
So,
And
Peter,
until that happens, let's entertain our 8 viewers.
yes, indeed. One thing I'd like to ask is, for people who are at that lower level chess or still improving, we're trying to get to somewhat of a good skill level like yourself. What are typical things we should be like worried about or thinking about in like a position like this? Like if you had your students and you were showing them this game, what would something you would tell them they should be focusing on right now?
Well, a lot of things. It would depend on the level of the student. Mm. It's a lot of chess principles fighting against each other right now. So there is a question of the e4 knight is hanging, so white could potentially win a pawn. On the other hand, white just weakened his king quite significantly, and so king safety is a consideration. And generally, I would advise, depending on the level of the student, I would advise to just play it a little safer, probably from the white's perspective, and not necessarily open up the position that much, even though now it might work out because of tactical consideration. I guess we have to calculate if this e4 knight will be lost. Maybe it will be. Generally, though, if it doesn't work out concretely, then you want to keep it safe. For black, I believe she already has made some mistakes, and the reason is because she should have fought for the center more. And one thing that I advise for my students is that they should fight for the center. Presence in the center is extremely important. The three most important things when you start a game is quick development, occupying the center, and then king safety. You should castle quickly. And you should be doing all of these, and you should pay attention doing all of these.
Someone is requesting the event link, so I'll ask Judith to post those in the chat.
Sounds great. When you reach higher level chess, you still want to honor these principles, but then concrete calculation and then crashing of these principles will play more overall. And then you might think about, okay, well, I weakened up my king. Let's say what white is doing here, because she played g4, f3. I mean, just weakening up the king completely. But of course, if she is capturing a knight, then it's all worth it. So,
thank you for joining our stream. Do I attempt to say the stream names? Let's see.
Yeah, you can.
Imad Terka? Maybe? Anyway, thank you for joining us today, and Judith will have those links along for you shortly.
Exactly. Okay, she will join us.
What would you do with black later here, Peter?
With black?
Yeah.
First, I would probably panic if I was under so much pressure and I was about to lose my knight. That's the first thing I would do, and then I would start to somehow try my best option to get out of trouble, or at least maybe find some counterplay. So those are the things that I would do probably in that order. And so if you ask me how to get it out of this, I'm not certain, and neither is the black player, because she's still thinking about it. One possibility is to play f5 here. f7, f5, and then if white takes on e4, then black takes back with the pawn, and then opens up the f file, and maybe potentially after some knight h4, knight f3, or knight takes e5, taking advantage of this pin along the a7 g1 diagonal, because the d4 pawn cannot take on e5. It is pinned by the bishop because the king is on g1. That could be an interesting possibility to find some counter chances. So I guess the first reaction would be some panic, and the second one, well, okay, but it's not going to solve anything. So you want to get over that stage very quickly, and preferably in seconds.
Oh, so you did went ahead and played this move that you were just talking about, f7 to f5.
So it seems like both me and um,
Analia.
and Anela Cara Miranda agrees with that f5 is the best counter chance, and it doesn't mean that it's objectively it is, but at least both of us seem to agree on that.
Okay, let's look at the other game for a moment.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Let's see. I'm going to back up a
Wow.
few moves.
Mm-hmm.
Bishop f4.
Okay, so here after knight takes d4, which is where we left the game off,
Right.
white played bishop f4, developing the bishop, bishop e6. A nice move, just defending the c4 pawn in advance. White gave a check on a4 with the queen. Black responded by
Blocking.
putting the queen, blocking the check with the queen, and then after e3, knight b3, we exchange queens. And right now, black is thinking about how to take back this one. And there are king takes d7 would have been a very interesting option. She opted for the opposite one, but king takes d7 would have been very interesting as well.
I
Defending the
think in
c7, this
Blitz,
is 7
because
pawn.
I like to have fun without calculation in Blitz, I probably would have just taken with the king, but in a situation like this where I do have time, I definitely would have been safer. Especially because Sophie's coming off of the losses from the first playoff.
Yes, bishop takes d7 is definitely the safer approach, even though it might not be the better one. Well, now the question is, how does black defend against bishop takes c7 and bishop c4? And white is threatening to take both of these pawns in one order or another, and so which one to defend? That is the question. And let's not forget about knight d5 either. Knight d5 might be just happening actually. So black maybe wants to start with e6 here, just to not allow that move, and then after knight takes a5, bishop takes c7, she's getting back the c4 pawn as well, which should provide some advantage for black, because I don't believe white has enough compensation for a pawn, which is what she's going to be down for. But we'll have to see. On another note, black does have the option to long castle here, but that runs into bishop takes c4, knight a5, and then bishop takes f7. So that's probably why she didn't want to do it. So she took on a5 first, not fearing knight d5, and then white instantly took on c7 with the bishop. So I guess we will see knight c6 here, bishop c4, and then e6.
Okay, let's jump over to the other game quick.
And I would think that black has a better position, but I don't think white has enough compensation. So let's jump back. Yes, let's
So
jump
back
back
to
and
Teresa and Analia's game.
see
So
black does find counterplay against the white king. This position plays out as expected. White did win the knight, but on the other hand, it might not be that simple for white actually, because the black pieces suddenly are very active, and the h3 pawn is hanging for the moment, as well as there are some very interesting ideas connected with knight takes
yeah, I
e5.
quite like black here. I think if I had a choice, I'd rather like. I always choose to play blitz because it's more fun for myself rather than having to sit there and concentrate very long and do many calculations. Because chess at this point in my life, I like to teach it and I like to have fun with it. And so if I got to play this game in Blitz, I would definitely pick black side. It just seems more my style.
Yes, White has definitely some very serious issues to solve, and it's not obvious how she is going to solve them at the moment. Doesn't mean that it's impossible, but right now Black is having more fun, that's for sure. The move I would calculate here for White first is knight d2. Just develop the knight because it has to happen at some point. And after rook h3, okay, we leave that hanging. Then king g2, hitting the rook, and then after rook h4, I guess we will have to play king g3 as well, defending the g4 pawn. And maybe after h5, actually, white is still in trouble. So it's not easy at all. I agree with you that maybe not just in a blitz, maybe in a long time control game, quite a serious attack for black. Quite a serious attack. So hats off to her that she found f5, because now the game is going to become very, very interesting.
Let's see. So while Teresa is thinking, let's take a look back at to see what happened. Wow. So let's see. So we left it when bishop takes c7 was played. Looks like knight went back to
And then
c6.
black went back to c6 with the knight. White took on c4, e6 as expected, knight f3, knight f6. And it seems like black is just going to develop while white cannot really do too much about that. And rook c8 is coming. Black will just castle and enjoy being a pawn up. So it doesn't seem like this opening either worked out very well for white with a5.
Definitely not. And this is just game. Well, this is just game one of game two. So we may even see an Armageddon later. Who knows?
Yes, potentially we can see two Armageddon still.
An Armageddon would definitely make it more exciting.
Yes, definitely for us, for the spectators. We want to see an Armageddon. As, that's. I'm not sure if the players want to see an Armageddon, but we definitely do. I think let's jump back to the other game because things are that is played for the championship. Very interesting things are happening there.
Oh
White,
wow. Okay.
White played rook f1 and then black took on e5, taking advantage of the pin. If white takes back this knight, then the e3 bishop is hanging.
Yeah, this pin is definitely really annoying, but pins usually are.
Yeah, pins are usually extremely annoying, and this one is no exception. White still needs to react with knight d2 here, I believe, but then black just takes on h3, and then it's already 3 pawns for the piece, and the g4 pawn is hanging as well with an ongoing attack. So white might regret playing f3 and taking the knight immediately rather than ignoring developing her queen side, which is, as we were talking about chess principles, white did violate one of them, which is you should develop your pieces.
Right.
And she ignored her queen side and went for the knight. She might regret it. Yes. So my suggestion would be for my students, before you have not developed all of your pieces, do not start concrete play because it can backfire very, very easily. And in fact, most of the time it will.
Yeah, we definitely sacrificed our king safety just to win the piece, and it wasn't worth it as of now. Oh wow.
White sacrificed the king safety, white ignored development, and white did win a knight. But at what price? At what price? That is the question, and perhaps this price was too high.
Definitely seems too high because not only is black very comfortable here and easy attack. But black's also up on time here compared to white.
No wonder. I mean, white is under very serious pressure on the board. It's just hard to find good moves now. Rook g3 is a huge threat. Knight takes g4 is a huge threat. It's just a very difficult position she has. And in that scenario, you also go a long time trying to find a solution, which doesn't help you either, of course.
Right, right.
Now, king g2 would be a logical move here, but then runs into rook h4 still, and then you're in real trouble. Actually, king g2, rook h4, maybe then white could take on e5. That would be an interesting possibility. After king g2, black could even consider taking on e3.
That would be really
Probably
fun.
that's not. It
Might
would
not
be
be
fun.
good, but it would be fun for sure.
I'm not sure if it's a good decision, but it's a fun one. Yes, some calculation is needed to be done here. Perhaps king g2 is the move I should try here at least. But I believe that black should have a good response there. Possibly. If white doesn't play king g2, then black can just give a check on g3 or just take on g4. So white desperately needs to find some counter chances. King g2 and then some calculation is needed. White is down to 2.5 minutes. That's not good for her. In the other game, things are also happening.
These knights keep ending up on the A file, right? And every time I see like a knight on the edge, I'm reminded of the rhyme we're like taught when we first start playing chess. I don't know. Were you taught a similar rhyme about not putting your knights on the edge of the board, or
Yes, there are rhymes in Hungarian as well.
which ones did you learn? I think it'd be really interesting to share.
Should I say the Hungarian one?
Yes, of course, and then you can translate it.
Huszár a szélen, játékosra szégyen.
Now you can
which
translate
is
it for our
which is
non-Hungarian speakers.
uh, so in English it means the knight is on the rim is a shame for the player. Something like this.
Okay,
Something like this.
yeah, very similar to the one we were taught. So when I was first learning chess, we were taught a knight on the rim, its chances are dim.
Mm.
And I remember I used to use it when I would start teaching new beginners as well. But the problem is, all the little kids could never remember it. They would be like, a knight on the edge is bad.
Yes, you
So,
generally want to control the censure squares for your knight. To Vice credit, sometimes you put your knight on the dim to get to better squares, and here, if white would get to b6 with the knight, that would be perhaps interesting. And it's possible that the knight would get in trouble there, but this game is not yet over. Even after, yeah. So first of all, rook is hanging down c8. I mean, this is what happens. You just think about principles and like everything, but then you just see the position and you have to start to calculate. Because
right.
at the end of the game, chess is a concrete game, and you should keep in mind chess principles and follow them. In general, those are guidelines. But then you have to see your own position and figure out whether in this specific case, what is the correct approach.
Okay, let's pop back over to our championship game because it looks like
Let's
enough.
do.
Yeah.
Let's do.
Teresa
White
is
played
down to under 2 minutes now.
yes, white played rook f4, which seems to be a mistake because knight takes g4
So I'm gonna just see a
looks
second.
like a strong move as well. And after rook takes g4, there is rook e3. Rook takes e3, and then after queen takes e3, queen takes g4 check. Black has 4 pawns at that point for the piece, which is more than enough compensation, and white's king remains to be weak, as well as the d4 pawn. So, objectively speaking, yeah, black is probably just winning here, as
This
well as being 5 minutes up on the clock.
Miss Queen she's sad and overworked. She wants to have a break.
Yeah, tough start for Teresa, because if she
Especially with
loses this game, then she has to come up with
so Queen takes g4.
yes, takes rook e3, but the d4 pawn is hanging. She needed to defend that. But yeah, the problem is she is down 4 pawns. That's too much compensation for a
Yeah,
piece, and then
especially with only 30 seconds left and the increment being only 2 seconds is definitely gonna
exactly, and rook f8, black brings the last piece into play, which she should do. And now after rook f1, rook e2, she could put even more pressure on white.
Yeah, I agree. So one of the comments on Twitch says that Teresa has to be super critical with so little time, and it's definitely not a good combination.
No, although I believe rook f3 was a slight mistake. I think rook e2 would have been more precise by Miranda, because if white manages to exchange all the, maybe she doesn't need to exchange all the rooks, but the point is it's harder for black to find a way into white's position now. And white can stop a4 by playing a4 herself, which is what happened. And now, even though I still like black's position, I think white has more survival chances than she had before.
Yeah, it'll be much easier for her to try surviving here with this 25 seconds increment, especially because we were able to see Sophie in so many of her games yesterday play like this, where she got down to under 30 seconds and was in really tough positions sometimes, but she was able to play on that increment, which is just amazing.
Yeah, yeah,
And she
wondering if she can
survived
pull
more
this
than
off.
one game.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Sophie, how about we check on her game for a moment?
Yes, let's do that. And I think she might be just completely winning here, because the b6 knight, principles might prove correct once again. And even though now the knight get to b6, it will get trapped there, far away from her own pieces. And after knight g4, black's simple strategy is just to take on e3, removing the guard, defending the b6 knight, and then black takes on b6 next. So what to do against that?
Mm-hmm.
And if the knight on the rim is dim, then I believe the knight on a8 is even worse, which is the only square the knight could go to right now, where it wouldn't get taken
Yeah.
immediately.
Oh.
So that knight is not surviving for long, and then black can do many things. For example, she can just castle, and then the knight will be taken after.
Okay,
So this
I'm
is
gonna go
just,
back to our championship game because we're getting into like the under 15 seconds mark.
yes, let's go back there. So this game, black is just going to very likely win the game. Yeah, bishop d4, e5 happened, and yes, let's go back to the championship game. And here, wow, black actually blundered the pawn away.
Wow, so maybe you really never know what's gonna happen until it's over.
We don't. Even though black had a chance to take on d4 as well.
So let's go back for a few moves just real quick to see what happened quickly.
Yes,
When we left
so
it.
what happened is that white played knight c5, black played h5, and white took on g7,
Wow, amazing.
which is a nice resource. And after king f6, knight takes f4, black actually could have decided to take on d4, king g5, and bishop b2, and probably still winning. But actually, let's just jump into where they are
Right.
right now, because they are making moves, I mean,
So fast.
very fast, and the position changes. So let's analyze the
It really
correct
has
position.
changed. So, for me, I'd have to cut off the pictures if I wanted to cut away this little engine bar that chess.com has provided. Of course, it doesn't show the lines; just it has a little bar to gauge who's supposed to be better or worse. And for the majority of the game, it showed that black was way better and white was just being crushed. And now it's set to completely equal.
Yes, it is, because white built up a very nice blockade. Black made serious mistakes there. I believe what happened here is that Black did something that I would also advise against for all of my students is that when your opponent is in time trouble, you should not play on her time. You should not. You should just keep your pace and then try to find good moves, because what happens quite frequently when you try to play as fast as your opponent is that you are actually not taking advantage of your time advantage. And then you are getting excited because maybe you are winning as well, and that's exactly when you miss things. And that's what happened. That's textbook what happened to Black here, because she did miss rook takes g7, and I believe even then she had chances to gain a winning advantage, but then she continued to play extremely fast, thinking about that White doesn't have time, and right now,
Oh, and
not now she's thinking,
first game in the other playoff for third and fourth is finished with Black winning, White resigned.
yes,
Here we have the
that
point
was
position.
expected. That was expected, kind of, because she didn't have a way to defend, to basically, I mean, she did save the knight, but it cost another piece. So that game was already over objectively, and Black found a nice way to just finish off the game. So with that said, let's go back to the to the game that is played for the championship and see. I mean, it's very exciting right now. I can see this game White winning actually at this point.
Definitely. Well, what a turn of events.
It could be. So she just won back another pawn. Very conceivable
In game also
that
very
White is the one
important.
going to win this game.
Now, Peter, I hear you're not only quite good at in game, but you've also written a book that's up for a nomination for an award.
It is. It is. Thank you for bringing it up.
Maybe during
All right.
the next game when we have some time, we'll talk
Yeah, let's
about
talk.
it.
Let's talk about that. Thank you so much. Let's talk about that when this game is over, because it's getting into a very exciting phase when maybe White is taking over, and I'm going to talk about my little book too. Oh wow, Black just wow, wow, Black is going to win now,
Wow, wow, wow.
and Black won.
What a turn of events.
Wow. Okay, so what happened is that actually White should not have taken on h4, because this was not avoidable. This was a forced line. After knight h4, bishop h4, king h4, king f5, and here at least White should have tried to play king g3, king e4, and then just bishop away. But then probably after d3 and d2 is still pretty tough for her, or the king comes
Wow.
in. So it's it was difficult for her. But after bishop d3, king f4, and king h3, king f3, it's all over, because Black can just promote, win the one pawn for the bishop, and the next one is going to promote. So there have been quite quite a ton of events in this game a few times, and at the end, White is the one who couldn't handle the pressure. But
Wow.
these games are so exciting because it seems like White is winning a piece, then Black is having an amazing comeback. Finds his f5 move
Yeah, really.
and creates an amazing attack, and then she is completely winning. And then she makes some mistakes playing on her opponent's time trouble, and then White is surviving. And then once again, White is committing a huge error in her time trouble, and then giving up the blockade for one pawn, giving Black chances to promote. So
Chess is just wild. You can never predict it.
such a roller coaster. It's so difficult. It's so difficult under so much pressure with so little time. Hard to make predictions. And well, congrats to Black. Now she has the advantage, and so Teresa has to win in order to with Black as well, in order to be able to play an Armageddon game for the championship. Otherwise, It seems like that Analia Karan Miranda Vargas' chances for winning the girls' invitation event are looking very good right now.
Yep, we'll just have a couple minutes. The game should be starting in a minute. Just giving the girls a little quick break. So yeah, wow, wow, wow. What a turn of events.
That's correct. That's correct. It's an amazing match. We are treated very well as spectators here, looking at these games. Very exciting.
Okay, looks like the games are starting.
Already?
Yeah. Then we just had one pull up on the board already. Let me
Oh
just
yeah.
adjust it because
Oh
right
yeah,
now
they do, yeah.
it'll fix once I get the other game up. Right now the H file is cut off, but I can fix that in just a moment.
I can see one of the games going already for the championship. The other game I can't see yet.
Yeah, the other game I'm pulling up.
Okay.
I'm not that computer savvy for a millennial. Haha, success. We have both games now.
Yay. Alright, let me also find the links. Okay, I have both games now right now. So, interesting openings.
Interesting indeed. So if white either draws or win, this first place is theirs. But if black wins, then we get to have an Armageddon.
That's correct. And White seems to know what she's doing since she didn't use any time so far.
So must all be preparation so far.
It is. It is. And I try to remember the name of the opening. It's a pretty famous one, and I still manage not to remember.
Well, chess.com is saying that it's the Italian game two. It actually has a
Well, it
bunch.
has a more specific name.
It says two knights, Scotch Gambit, Anderson attack. Does that sound
Yes,
familiar?
I don't think it's Anderson attack. I don't think so actually. But I believe it's a famous one. I'm just even though I don't remember, I still disagree with just opening name, and I might be the one wrong here. That's quite possible. So it's possible.
You wrong? Are you
Yes,
sure it's possible?
almost all the time. Anyway, you gotta have to get only a few things right. That usually does it. But yeah, not like an opening name. Wow, seems like it happens. Anyways, and the other of me is Sia Sicilian. Do you think it's the right time
I
to
just
talk
switched to the
about?
other game.
All
So
right,
now I
all
have
right.
Sophie's
If you
game
want,
pulled up.
if you want, I can bring up my game, my book for a what is that? Shameless self promotion.
uh, wait, I think I actually have an image that I could insert
Ah, you do?
into the stream.
And I ran out. I would actually show this book, but I ran out of it. Basically, every single copy I had, and I had like 20, I gave away as a present. And now I don't have any for myself actually at this moment. So I need to order about like
Oh my
I
gosh.
calculated like seven more to give even more presents to people who helped me quite a lot writing this book. There's a lot of people who helped me,
There we
and
go. There it is.
they do deserve at least a copy with a personal
So
note.
I don't know if you're still watching the stream on your phone, Peter, but the stream now has a little picture of your book. If you wanted to
Oh
talk
wow!
about it while we're waiting for some exciting stuff to happen during the game.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Anna. It well, about a week ago, on 19th of June, the FIDA Trainers Commission judges they chose my book amongst the eight best for the FIDE Book Award 2021, which means that from the time period of 2020 April until 2021 April, my book is amongst the 8 best chess books. Well, according to FIDE, which I'm pretty astonished by. I was I was both extremely surprised and happy, and I know that I put a lot of effort into the book. But you write a book and you never know what other people think about it, right? I mean, I was trying my best, and you just publish the book and never know, never know what the reception would be. So I'm extremely honored and I'm very excited about it
It's
it
definitely a
it
good
it
book. I don't
finishing.
finish many chess books, but I've started and kept up with trying to solve things in this chess book. It was a gift to me before Peter left after graduating, and I'm enjoying it so far. Some of them are way too hard and go over my head, and I feel like I'm doing Dvoretsky's manual all over again. But some of the tactics, I look at them and I'm like, oh, I know this.
Happy to hear that. Well, I was trying to be very transparent about the difficulties of the puzzles because all of them get stars from 1 to 5. And so definitely I would recommend to solve puzzles that are well challenging for you but not impossible to solve. And so for different level players it's different. I believe if you know the basics about chess, then you should at that point already be able to solve at least the 1-star puzzles, and then developing. I mean, if you are at a higher level, then this level will go higher, and the 5-star is already quite difficult for would be for most elite players as well. So the book has quite a nice range of difficulty levels, and I did assign I did try to assign them into the core categories. So this book could be used for by many players based on
I've
this
assigned some of it as homework to some of my students who are around 16, 1700.
and how are they doing?
They're doing good so far. A little frustrated at times, but good.
What
So it's the
what level
perfect.
what level are you assigning? What stars?
None of the 5 stars, because I don't assign anything that I can't solve myself.
Fair enough.
So we're working on it. Maybe by next year I'll be solving those 5 star puzzles, and who knows? Maybe by this time next year for the girls' event, I'll have a nice woman's title next to my name too.
Let's work on that. If you worked it with this book, then your chances are going to be way higher.
Exactly, exactly. I'll credit all the success to your book. Thank you for
I
sharing that.
I would
You guys
I
can find the book. Where can they purchase the book? I know here in the Americas it's sold almost everywhere. They have it at Target, like online, and Walmart of all places. Which I was just so shocked the other day when I was looking it up for my student to buy it. And then of course you can get it on all the chess retail sites. If you're in the U.S., you can use U.S. Chess, Thinkers Publishers for everyone. Anywhere else, Peter? Amazon too.
well, I would credit first of all, I would credit all your successes to your own hard work. And then, well, about the book where it is purchasable, I would usually recommend Amazon if you are in the US. That makes a lot of sense. And otherwise, well, you can purchase it there, and they might even. I believe it's probably at this point discounted. Don't take my word for it, but you can check it out there if you are in Europe, and then you might maybe get it at a lower price. So go on the Thinkers Publishing website. Is it really purchasable at Walmart, or is it
Yep.
was it a joke? Really,
Not in the store, but online.
really,
Mhm.
wow.
Walmart and Target both. Okay, so let's go talking about the games again.
I'm really surprised about that, but I'm pretty happy. And let's see how the book finishes. It's still in contention for winning the FIDE Book Award 2021. The next round, when the number of books will be reduced to 3, is I believe 1st of July. So a few more days to hope for, to be hopeful for.
Yeah, of course. course.
And with that said, let's jump back into the games.
Agreed. Okay, so I have our championship game pulled up, the one for all the scholarships, so all the marbles, all the
Yes,
chess pieces. I guess in this, since you could use appropriatism as all the chess pieces instead of all the marbles.
yes, that is
Yeah.
definitely. I'm not sure how to react to that exactly, but I will just say that I completely agree with you there. Okay, well, actually, I would take one issue. You said all the chess pieces are, but quite a lot of them actually have been captured off the board already in this game. So, so I will take issue with that. In fact, black just took a pawn on b2, which means that currently black is a pawn up, and she needs to win the game as well.
Okay, so what for those of us who are not like a high level of chess, like we do have some people who have been tuning in and then tuning out, who are at that lower level where they're starting to learn what to do after they get out of the opening into a middle game, and they might have see this position and have absolutely no clue what's going on and be wondering, so what are like some ideas or plans, or what needs to happen in order for white to push for an advantage or black to push for an advantage or just hold on? What would you tell them?
That as a grandmaster, I'm also not sure about it. Probably that's what I would I would say.
Because I noticed that like a lot of students today, um, they just turn the engine on after they play. While they're only looking at the engine evaluation, and as we know, just because the engine is saying one thing, the beautiful thing about chess still is that the engine isn't always perfect. There are still beautiful things you can find with your own brain that does happen. There's moves that the computer simply cannot see, and ideas as well. And
Here
so
is
a lot
yeah,
of
here is
the yeah, go
yes,
ahead.
here is the problem with an engine. Sorry to interrupt. Here is I agree with your frustration about engine and people using engine too much. That's a problem. And the reason why it's being a problem is because the question is not what's the best move. That is not the question. And that is the answer you get when you switch on the engine. But in order to progress in chess, to develop in chess, you have to ask the right questions first. And what is the best move is not the right question. The question is how to think about the position. In what way can I arrive to good moves? And unfortunately, the engine will not answer those questions. And even worse, the engine will answer what the best move is, and then you can't think for yourself because your judgment is already clouded by the fact that you know the answer. And the human mind is amazing at self-deception and self-justification. And so, okay, I know the best move, and so, well, I guess this is the best move because, and then you will find arguments. But when you don't know what the best move is, and you have to think for yourself, well, it will be much more challenging to arrive to that same move that the engine suggests to you, which arguably sometimes not even the practical decision. And let's not even get there when the engine's move is not the move that you should play in the game, because you should play practical moves, not necessarily the engine best moves. That is like that is like other consideration which we can leave for the side now. But what's the most for especially for beginners, what should be the most important to know is that no, the answer is the question that you have to ask is not what's the best move. The question to ask how to get there. And if you can answer this question better and better, you will improve.
Oh
Your
wow, we
results
took
will
a game
improve.
for a moment. Sorry
Yes,
to
let's do.
interrupt
Oh
you,
my
but
god, rookie 8? What?
yeah, exactly.
What? Black blundered? Or like black blundered here, rookie 8 check?
Yeah.
And the white is thinking, right?
Yeah, White's probably trying to make sure they're not missing anything, but oh my gosh.
Wow, rookie 8 check, it's a tactic, guys. And so that would be my other recommendation. If you are at the more beginner level you are, the more you have to practice tactics, 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 and the more beginner level, the more. And
It just went completely, like, it went from black having the upper hand to now it looks like we won't have an Armageddon.
It seems like we want. I
But
mean,
as
this
we've
is
seen,
the
anything can happen.
well, if white plays rook a8, then I'm not sure what's going to happen. I mean,
Oh
it seems like
wow,
it's just a
it's
rook up.
amazing.
Wow.
I wonder what Black must have been thinking. It, they clearly overlooked it, but it's not like they're in time pressure or anything yet. So it's a little bit surprising to have someone of this level play a move like this and so
I mean,
quickly.
probably, well, she probably had to play some queen a4 here. I guess she was afraid that some rook takes d6 would happen and then her king would be weak. And what is your first reaction in this kind of situations when you took a lot of pawns and then your king is under attack? Well, you want to exchange queens. That's a very normal human thing to do. If you exchange queens, then you're done. But the problem is queen f5 does not work because of rook a8 check. So even though you want to exchange the queens, it's just not going to work out if white finds it, because she did not play the move yet.
Right.
Even though I'm not sure what she's thinking about, because well, if she finds the move, then after, well, black has two options: either to take on e8 and then the queen is hanging with queen takes f5 check, or the other move is to play king d7. But in that case, just queen takes f5, rook takes f5, rook takes h8 will win the rook.
Okay, she sees it.
Okay, she did play it. Yes, it's a heartbreak for black. You know, that's what happens when, and I'm getting to back to this point again. You are under so much pressure, you have to win, and then you feel you have a chance. You just took two pawns and maybe you are exchanging queens and you get excited and then you blunder a tactic that at this level, I mean, these players are very strong. So she could easily have seen this one, and she's strong enough
Wow.
to see these tactics, and the only reason why she wouldn't is because of the tournament situation, because under stress it's very different to play chess than when you just, even commentate on it.
She has to be devastated right now.
Yeah, I mean, she has to play king d7, and then after queen takes f, which, yeah, she did, but after rook f5, rook f5, rook h8, she still has two pawns for the rook, and so she doesn't need to resign yet, but of course bring a rook up. It should be just a question of time before white converts. Would be
Okay,
very surprised if I didn't convert here easily.
let's take a quick peek at the other game since we know probably what's going to happen in the next few moves of this one.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Okay.
wow, that's a bishop c5. That's an amazing move. I'm not sure if it saves black, but maybe it does. But it's an amazing move. The point being is that, in fact, she went for this combination with c4, 17 c4, and then after bishop c4, bishop e4, queen e4, bishop c5, the knight on g4 is not hanging because of queen h4 checkmate.
Right. Wow, wow, wow.
And so white needs to find a different move, and knight f2 check is also a threat. So I believe white has to respond here with bishop d3, creating a checkmate threat on her own on h7.
Right.
And then black can just calmly respond to that with playing g6. And then white is in time to defend against knight f2 with, let's say, queen f3. And my bet is still on white, actually. I mean, white is a pawn up, and it feels like she should be able to deal with all the threats. And if she does so, then she should come out on top because of being a pawn up, and the only thing she needs to do is to defend her king, and that feels like doable. And if that happens, and rook it was also a decent move. If that happens, then we might not get an Armageddon at all.
go back to our main game, see if anything's happened yet. So it seems like white will probably win this one. So no Armageddon, unfortunately, but anything can happen, you know? It hasn't been decided yet, not until results are placed.
There is a saying, never it's never over until it's over, right?
Exactly.
So we'd rather not call it a day, even though I'm very tempted to do to do exactly that because being a rook up seems like too much.
Okay, so black played knight h6. Hmm.
Yes, in the other game, right?
Right.
For third place to make the podium, knight f5, and then she wants to redirect her knight to g3. So if she had time, she would play knight f5, h4, knight g3, and she would do fine. I really like that choice. And that's the best chance she has. And mm, it's calculation time, I guess. So bishop d3, knight f5, and then perhaps white can play queen f3, defending against the knight g3 super fork. I mean, that knight would fork a king, a queen, and two rooks. And there is this meme that, you know, when, somebody says that the knight is forking a king, a queen, a rook, and, it's just so happy. And then, unfortunately, the knight is also forking another knight, rather. And that's unfortunate because in that case, this fork would be a little bit less strong. Well, yeah, here after f5, interesting decision. I was expecting kind of bishop d3, knight f5, queen f3
Right.
happening, and after knight d4 there was queen takes h5. So it's interesting calculation exercise. Well, I decided to play f4 rather, f5. And then if the knight takes, I guess she just wants to sacrifice the rook. And then the queen, but that doesn't seem right to me. This exchange sacrifice feels very desperate.
Well, it's weird. The engine just said that like it went from white winning and being like +1 to now it's -6.
Yes, because of
Oh.
queen d4,
Oh my
which
gosh.
which is what happened. Not only threatening with mate in 1 on g1, but also just threatening the c4 bishop. And that shows that if your pieces are undefended, then that spells trouble. That is going to spell trouble. So yeah, that's why I should have reacted with bishop d3, queen f3 with more caution. f5 was hastened. Not only she lost an exchange, but she also blundered queen d4, which means that
Oh
black is going
no.
to win this game.
Let's switch.
And then we get an Armageddon.
Yeah. Let's look at the other game for just a moment and see if any chances have been made.
Yeah, it's actually
Look
more
at that king
interesting now.
go.
King
King's all the way on
King
c4.
h3 has to happen because look at this one. If king c3, then bishop rook c4 check, king b2, rook b1 check, king a3, rook b3 checkmate.
Oh my gosh.
And that means that the only move to make for black here is king a3. I mean, she doesn't want to go back to king a5 or king c5. She needs to go forward. And the only square that doesn't get checkmated immediately is a3. But even then, I mean, the thing is about this position is now it could potentially get tricky. If white doesn't find, she did go to
King
a5.
a5.
Until there is this d3 pawn on the board, there are still hopes. There are always some tactical ideas connected with helping this pawn to queen. King a5, and I believe now knight c4 and knight b3 are both interesting. Perhaps the most knight b3 and rook d4 was interesting, trying to exchange everything. and then winning the d3 pawn. King f1 also makes sense, just bringing the king closer to the passed pawn.
And then white in the other game went ahead and played rook to e3, stopping the mate threat. But oh my gosh, so many things are just hanging everywhere.
Yeah, just a piece, I mean, a full rook down is a bit too much. Rook after queen takes e4, even queen d2 is okay. Actually, if black is not careful now, then she could blunder a perpetually with rook takes g7. And let's remember that the draw is pretty good for white.
If draw, then no Armageddon.
Then no Armageddon. So actually, she managed to create one more threat that is somewhat challenging to respond to. Actually.
Okay, what about our other king? Anything else?
So perhaps it would have been more precise to take the bishop on d2 for black, so she doesn't need to deal with this threat. Although yeah, queen e6. Yeah, that should do it. And after queen h5, she still needs to find a way to defend, but yeah, it's possible. Queen h6 is a strong move. All right. And the other game is still ongoing. Black took on a4. Imagine if it would turn around and black would win somehow.
That would be crazy. But in this event, we've had lots of crazy things, so it definitely is possible. Definitely could happen.
I mean, the both players are getting slow on time.
Okay,
It,
I've
it does
switched
seem.
back to our championship game since this is
Yes,
the
let's
last
do
game
that.
one for the
It
scholarship.
does seem like that black has more chances than it was necessary to allow for white. This is this game is pretty interesting still. I mean, imagine these pawns are coming c5, c4. Could be very dangerous. The other game actually ended already.
Ah, okay.
And black won, which means that
Armageddon.
which means that we do get an Armageddon.
What happened?
And let's think about white did blunder all of her pieces, right? And then that's what happened with f5 and then she didn't have the perpetual. So let's get back to the other game because it's still ongoing and it's more interesting than ever. So I will take back my previous statements. Black has a lot of chances here. Very exciting. a5. Look at this king on a3, surrounded by his own pawns. And white should have taken care of this d3 pawn earlier, because right now black connected all of her pawns and then now it's becoming quite challenging to stop them all. I would say in time trouble it is way easier to play this position for a black than for white actually.
evaluation said it just went to equal for
Yeah,
black and
I don't know how to evaluate this position. This is crazy. But I would play this position with black any day of the week. It feels like white has a much harder job right now to keep all of these pawns, all of this. Wow, all of the pawns at bay. And there might be some threats connected with bishop takes a3 and then knight e3 check as well at the moment. So this game went from being just being white, white being a rook up at completely winning to very, very exciting.
yeah. Did if someone was to bet money on this game, I'm quite certain they would have lost. Like if they bet when it would have ended or the outcome or how. Wow. It just keeps going back and forth. Like 1 minute
It
it's
does.
white's winning, then it's equal, then black has chances. Now white's winning again objectively.
Yes, I mean, I'm looking at it without an engine and I have no idea how to evaluate this. You
Okay.
know, the one thing is that it is extremely difficult to play with
I think
both
Susan will
colors.
join us. Give me 1 moment.
Oh, that's good. This is the perfect moment for her because to join because the game is heating up and it's an amazing. It's just an amazing position.
Okay, welcome back, Susan.
Hi, Susan. You are joining at the best moment. Look at this exciting game.
Hi, I need to pull that up, so I'm not yet seeing the games.
It's it's another kind of Miranda Vargas versus Teresa, the adjunct Teresa Singh. And both of them are in time trouble, and the position is crazy. And I believe it's going to end somehow soon. Maybe white is going to win after all, but you know, evolution changes all the
Okay, oh
time.
my God, that's a really
Look,
crazy
look at
position.
look at this position.
Wow, looks like a composition, not a game.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, what is this? What is this
It's just been
craziness?
crazy. It's been going back and forth.
Yes, but white has a draw advantage, so draw would be quite enough for white. She doesn't mind repeating moves. Black needs
So,
to deviate here.
yeah, this is the second time already.
Yeah, she cannot play rook b6. Yeah, rook e5 has to be attempted, and then while white is taking, and then c3 is still. I mean, I had no idea how I would evaluate this one during the game, especially with no time. I mean, it's craziness.
It's super unusual position, that's for sure.
This is not your
White is
regular
up
pawn structure.
but white is up a lot of material at the same time.
She is, but these pawns are extremely dangerous, and with time trouble, she has to sacrifice back this knight for at least two pawns, and then yeah, she would probably win it if she could manage. But the thing is, she was just a full rook up for no compensation whatsoever.
Wow, those
And
pawns are marching up.
and now you know this is a different situation. So I don't know what's going to happen in the next few seconds.
Rook b.
Okay, c2, rook d2 doesn't work yet. So I guess white has to play knight a6, which would be
And try
very
to then
strong.
sacrifice
And then
on
knight
b.
takes b4, knight takes b4. But she went knight e6, which probably is a mistake because she should have sacrificed this knight for the b4 pawn.
Of course, they
For
both
the
have second.
yes, but yeah, it's just anything can happen really at this point. King b2 probably has to be played. King b2 and then push the a pawn. Oh, c2, I don't think
That's
it's a
a
good
blunder.
decision. I don't think it's a good one because white can take on d2.
The pin.
Yes, and king b2 still, but why king e3? She wants to clear the files for the b pawn, but I think she should have cleared the files for the a pawn. Although, you know, it's still complicated.
Every move is.
I don't know. I don't know what's happening, but one thing is for sure, this is we got to see something
Okay.
really exciting.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I can easily imagine this white winning. I mean, black winning this one.
Yeah, pawns are always so dangerous when they are marching down as a team, as an
Yeah,
army.
king e1 has to be played here, and a2. Wow, that hangs the rook on
Wow.
c1. That hangs the rook on rook takes d4. Rook takes d4 would have been, but now it's probably maybe still winning for black actually, because because let's say
Has
Rook
too
is
many
a2,
pawns to
just
cover.
a2 would have, even this is winning. It should be winning. Yes, and black is going to win after a2. Wow.
I guess we are going to Armageddon after
Well,
all.
well, well. Actually, now, no, no, it's a pin. It's a
It's
pin. The
game
rook is
over.
pinned.
Rook is
It's
pinned.
game. It's going. Yes, she doesn't have rook e1. Wow, that was the craziest game I have seen in a while.
Wow.
That's just wow. No words.
Amazing game.
Wow.
So I guess we'll be going to Armageddon for both sections.
And yes, we do. And let's have a look at what happened at move. Let's just
What
show
move?
Susan what happened at move 18.
Oh, I did show her.
You did?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
sent. Yeah, I received a text message.
Yes, yes. So
Hello.
that's what happened, and then white was just completely winning, being a rook up, but then black fought on, and amazing enough, she pulled it off. And now
what
we get
great
to see
fighting spirit.
two playoffs even.
It's a perfect example that what we teach to our students that never give up fighting, because nobody ever won a game they resigned. And as long as there are chances to go wrong, you should, test your opponent because they are under pressure, maybe time pressure as well, and they may make a mistake. So I think it's really important lesson to learn from for everybody out there that don't give up too early. Don't get double zero if you play on.
Exactly.
Okay, so I think there is another little break probably before the Armageddon.
Right. Wow, wow, wow. Congratulations to our
For the
players.
comeback for both girls. The excitement continues.
Yeah, that's pretty
What a
amazing.
fighting spirit.
Yeah, it went quite a bit longer than we thought. Very fighting games.
Very. It would be so much fun if we could get the girls on the stream just to hear their thoughts about the games that just were played and it going to Armageddon. Because
Yeah,
especially
hopefully we
after
can
move
get them
18.
after the Armageddon.
Right. I would have lost all hope after move 18 in this game, honestly. My mindset is just amazing.
But she's showing extreme resilience and fighting spirit.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely would like to congratulate all the girls for their fighting spirit, even though, of course, given the time control and everything else, they were not perfect games, but very exciting fighting games, and that definitely
Yeah.
it deserves respect. Okay, and I'd like to thank again both of you for running the stream for this event.
Of
I
course.
have to unfortunately get off again and leave you for now, but it's been a very exciting weekend for my foundation, and hopefully all the girls, all the participants, they had some gained some good experience, and of course the finalists who are playing today, they are earning some nice prize money as well as of course the special scholarships to Webster University, which is really really exciting.
But thank you so
So
much for
Thank
the
you
for
so
the
much, Susan.
invitations, and
my
good
pleasure,
luck. Good
and
luck to the girls going into
I
the
look
finals.
Okay,
exactly
we
I
will
look
have
forward to finding out the results of the winners very soon. Bye.
about a 5-minute break and then we'll resume with the Armageddon.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so
Bye.
much, Susan.
Thank you.
Let's see. Live stream.
All right,
Okay.
so 5 minute break.
5-minute break.
Let's do a 5 minute break.
Welcome back, everyone! Well, mainly
Welcome.
welcome back to us.
Welcome back to the stream. And I believe we are getting the links for the games soon, right?
Yes, should be getting them any moment now.
All right.
I know Judith is just pairing them.
Wow. And then, would you prefer to be white or black in this kind of situation? If white has 5 minutes and black has four. There is no increment, but white has to win.
Black for sure.
So white has the advantage of making the first move as well as having 1 more minute,
Yeah.
but she has to win.
Yeah, I definitely would not want a must-win situation. I've never won a must-win situation that I can remember. It might have happened, but I've also not been in many situations where it was a must-win situation, thankfully.
I
But
see.
what
Yeah,
about
it's a
you?
tough
Do
one.
you feel confident in a must-win situation?
Well, it's much better if your opponent is also in a must-win situation. And so there was a few games that I won like that. However, when it comes to Armageddon, I'm not even sure if I have played any Armageddon so far. But I would choose black actually. I would go for the draw. Okay, I can keep the draw.
Okay, we're just waiting for the links for the games to start. Should happen any moment. And I know I'm following two of the players, so that should help with automatically.
Yeah, that's true.
Any minute now. Any second now. Hopefully.
Yeah, it's pretty tense. It's pretty tense now. Especially imagine after the previous game. Now, now, um, Analia Cara Miranda Vargas needs to play a
Oh, we
needs to
have a
play a
technical
playoff.
difficulty. One of the cameras died, so
Oh no.
we're waiting for. Let's see, which game would this be? The championship game will have a slight delay, but the game for the third and fourth place should start momentarily.
All right. So it seems like both of us would choose black
Yeah, of
in an
course.
Armageddon game.
It seems so. They had a coin toss to determine who was going to get to pick the colors, obviously. And in the coin toss, Analia won, and she chose black. And
Hmm.
then Teresa, I would like to say her first name, but I'm too worried about pronouncing it wrong, and I know how annoying that can be. But
Diaz
she also
Teresa
won.
Sengi.
She won the
Uh,
coin toss and also chose black. So those who
everybody,
won the coin toss chose to play black.
both the commentaries and the players who have a little bit more at stake at the moment chose black. Would choose black and chose black. There are some players that would choose white. Interestingly, like if you are a very fast player in a blitz game, then without increment, which we are going to see now,
Mhm.
then it also does have an advantage. I remember at World Cups, the the rule was similar with one exception is that actually after move 60, both players get 1 second per move.
Oh, really?
Yes, so it was 5 minutes, 4 minutes, but if you manage to make it to move 60, starting from move 61, you get 1 second per move. And that means that okay, if you are a queen up, then you are even going to win the game. Or let's say you have to defend a position where the opponent has an h1 and you don't have any, and the opponent will not be able to win on time, which is something that happened to me a few times. But right now, that is not going to be the case. Right now, there are no increments at all. It's just 5 minutes versus 4 minutes. So it does have an advantage as well for being white is that you can actually play on time, play
Okay,
for
it
time.
says that the game has started, so let me copy that link and look it going.
Hmm. Yes, I can see. I can see.
Zoe's game has started on the computer. Let me start the other game.
Yes, Teresa and the Miriam are playing each other. The other game is has not.
There we go. We have both games now. Championship section,
All right.
and for the third and fourth place, let's start with the championship section, the one that's in line for the big scholarship.
Let's start with that one. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes. So they are kind of repeating a similar line that they had before. Not the queen e2 h3 c3 and then actually white might have deviated here. She did not play rook d1, but rather than d3 bishop e3 she plays it a little slower. She has the center and black has the bishop pair. You know, with black you have to play very fast
Right.
because you have 4 minutes and you don't get any increment. So by the previous games we have seen 2 second increment per move, which meant that technically the players shouldn't have lost some time. Now that's very much on the table.
But already white's going down to almost the same time as black in the championship game, so it's basically equal time-wise now. But it takes a lot of pressure
It
off of
is.
black.
Well, white is still 20 seconds ahead and she has a very easy plan by pushing f4 f5. So right now I like her position quite a lot. Probably I was thinking about playing f5 and stopping white's pawns. So queen h4. Actually, that's very interesting tactic. After f5, there is knight takes e5, and d5 runs into bishop b6, spinning the queen.
I think I've seen like that before, but unfortunately, I think it was played against me. So.
Oh no, oh no.
That
So
does happen.
probably white wants to react by playing king h1 and just getting out of the diagonal as soon as possible. And after she does that, I think her position is pretty nice. See, she saw it. And of course, they are very strong players. There is no wonder, and black still puts the bishop there, which makes a lot of sense. The players right now are fighting for, well, whether white. Oh wow, white just blundered the pawn.
That's looking good for white.
Queen takes
Okay, so
f4.
white blended a pawn. Let's see what's going on in the other game. Just because both are moving so fast, we don't want to spend too much time on one.
Yes, and the other game, white also blundered the pawn. So black is doing very well in both games so far. The only question is how this knight can move from h3, but it's not hanging right now, so black can wait with that. So she's wondering what's the best course of action here. And bishop f3 is a decent option. Rook e5 trying to get the rook into play. Well, what she needs to be worried about is if somehow white can capture this knight by playing knight g3 and then king g2, queen h1. Does this knight get out or not? I'm not sure about actually if rook e5 was the correct decision because the knight right now the knight cannot retreat to f4.
Right.
Now that the rook covers the range of the d6 bishop. Black is threatening with rook takes e3 at the moment. And the rook takes e3, rook takes e3, f5, and bishop g3. Seems like wins 2 pieces for a rook.
Okay, let's switch to our other game real quick.
Yes, let's switch back again. So white decided not to exchange queens. But of course, rather the f pawn is very bad news to her because her main plan was to play f4, f5, and without that pawn existing, it's just tough. On the other hand, black's queen is a little bit misplaced, so and white still has space advantage, so the game is far from over. It's very far from over, and we have seen some crazy turnarounds in previous games as well, so we cannot say for sure what's going to happen until everything gets, but right now black situations look at the moment very good. The other game, a lot of things have happened, and it seems like black has won another pawn with a nice little combination, and she should just be completely yeah, she should be completely winning at this point. And she's down 20 seconds, but that seems to be manageable. I mean, she should just take on She probably, the easiest would have been just to take on g3 and simplify into a queen endgame with being 2 pawns up. So she decided not to, but it's dangerous. It's dangerous to let the knight leave, especially in time trouble. Okay, let's switch back again to the other game. Things are happening so fast. And white is down to like 40 seconds at this point, even though she started the game up a minute. And she might be just completely losing actually after knight e5 because the h7 was defended, knight f3, that's a nice move, but it and then queen takes g3 is a question whether white black can do it, and then queen h7, king f8, queen h8, king e7. It seems like black can just take, so she decided to take probably very correctly. So that game should end up in a black victory soon. And this is the game for the championship as well.
Right.
Knight d4, while still trying to find chances. But she only has 20 seconds left on the clock. I think we should follow this game until until it ends, because this is for the championship and white doesn't have any time, so it should end soon. Yeah, white is just a rook down. And black king is extremely safe on e7. Knight f5 is necessary, but after takes, white doesn't even have a threat. So she can only hope for a miracle, and she has 9 seconds left on the clock too. Yeah.
Okay, let's switch back to the other game because there's like 7 seconds left.
That's the game. That's the game I'm talking about. Yes. So yes, and white is going to run out of time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, 0.2 seconds, and then yes, she lost.
Oh.
And so the winner of the event is Analia Caramiranda Vargas from Ecuador.
Congratulations. I think we'll
Congrats.
also have the girls on the stream coming soon.
Sounds great. And the other game also has ended with both games being a black victory. So Sophie Morris Suzuki takes third place.
Wow. Congratulations to our girls. Soon we'll have them right on the stream too. So.
Sounds great. We are waiting for them. Wow, that was quick. That was
really quick. That didn't feel like 5 minutes at all.
Yes, that's speeches. Well, technically it was 9 minutes, right? 5 plus 4.
Yeah, but it didn't even feel like it was 5 minutes. It felt like literally less than a minute.
Yes, exactly. It felt like less than 1 or 2 minutes. Without increment, it goes extremely fast, and you gotta have really good nerves.
It's made me excited. I kind of have like this urge to play some blitz chess right now. So maybe after this stream is done, I'll have my own stream after my lessons today where I just play a bunch of blitz.
Sounds like a program. Sounds like a program.
Peter, you speak Spanish, right?
Very little. Don't be.
The winner.
Don't put me on the spot.
The winner, her
Un poco.
English is not the best.
Oh no, oh no.
So
I
we're
haven't
gonna be
spoken
relying on you.
Well, I haven't spoken Spanish in like 8 months, so okay, hablo un poco español. Un poquito.
So you'll get to be the interviewer for this one.
Wow.
Okay, let me go ahead and get her in here. Okay. Let me change to this screen. And this, and we'll admit Sophie first. And we should have her here shortly. Hello, Sophie. Let's ask Sophie to unmute.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Perfect. Everyone's on the stream now. Congratulations.
Thank
Your
you.
tournament is finally over. I know that has to be a big sign of relief.
Yeah.
You must have been under a lot of pressure.
Yeah. I guess I have some explaining to do. I definitely have some explaining to do. So let me just say that today's dishonorable mention of the day goes to my internet provider, because without them, I would have been able to avoid a lot of problems. Um, Although at the same time, like I don't know if I can really complain because like without them, I also wouldn't have been able to play in this tournament at all. So like I can't even complain, which is unfortunate because I really want to complain like a lot. But
Right.
No, I'm sorry about your
But
internet
you did
situation.
amazing, even so. And one thing we were noticing, how do you feel when you're in time pressure? Because when we were watching, like almost every game throughout the tournament, you got into time pressure at least one point. But you did so well at not cracking under that pressure and not just flagging. You were able to play on that increment in the games yesterday, and I have no idea how you do that because I have never been able to do that. How were you
well,
feeling? Like, did your hand shake? Do you feel as nervous as we would expect? Because you handle it so well.
um, yeah, after a few games, I definitely had like my hand shaking sometimes. And I would just like I wouldn't even I would just like take a really deep breath. Like I would just I don't know. Like I don't enjoy it. I don't know. I don't know if like it looks like I enjoy it, but I don't. But like I guess I did a lot of practice though. Like first of all, I have an issue with playing too much blitz, so I sometimes
Okay.
that comes in handy. Um, and
Ooh.
I also did like a practice match for this tournament where I got into time pressure a lot
Whoa. No idea what's going
and I was not able to handle it. So I guess getting that practice is worth it though.
on. Alright, guys.
Anyway.
Give me 1 minute to adjust all the video so we can see everyone. Okay.
And hi,
Awesome.
everyone. Welcome. It was quite an exciting day, and congratulations to all the players who made the playoff. But first and foremost, to Analia Miranda Theresa. She won the playoff, and she earned the first place prizes and the first place scholarships. So, Peter, I was told you can help a little bit with translation. She's much more comfortable in Spanish.
Well, I haven't spoken Spanish in 8 months, but I will try my best.
Okay. So, yeah, if Analia, we know that you have played amazing games, and congratulations. And what are your plans? Can you just ask her what are her plans for the future
Um, Analia,
or something?
um, mm, jugaste partidas muy buenas y con felicidades para tu resultado. ¿Y qué son tus planes en el futuro?
Ya. Gracias. Y lo que yo quiero en el futuro es, bueno, poder estudiar en una buena universidad. Quisiera sacar mi título de GM. De hecho, todo este año, desde la pandemia, he empezado a entrenar muy fuerte, pero como no hay torneos aquí, entonces no he podido sacar un título y no he podido subir de elo. Entonces, esos son mis planes hasta entrar a la universidad y de ahí quiero centrarme en mi carrera y ir de la mano con el ajedrez.
¿En los Estados Unidos? ¿En este torneo? ¿O...
Okay. So,
Gracias.
yeah, Analia actually was born in 2005, so I don't know when she will be going to university, but I'm pretty sure she's going to university, and so she will be able to consider this opportunity. And Diajeng, you got the second place, so congratulations. Let me please know that Diajeng is joining us from Indonesia, and it's probably 2 a.m. there, right?
It's 1 actually, it's 1 a.m.
Oh my
1
god.
a.m. So,
Wow.
but still amazing achievements, and thank you so much for playing and contributing to this playoff.
So thank you, girls. Congratulations. And
Yeah,
I know,
congratulations to all of you girls. As a past participant, I remember what it's like to be in your shoes and to be playing in such a high level and competing for the scholarship as well. And you all did an amazing job, and I'm so excited that you were able to be a part of this tournament this year.
And thank you so much for the amazing games. I mean, we had a real treat watching you all play, and while it must have been extremely stressful, but also extremely exciting for all of us to watch.
so thank you, everyone. I know Susan would have loved to join and congratulate you guys in person. Unfortunately, she's tied up with another event, so she sends her regrets. And I'm pretty sure she's going to send a personal note to every one of you. So thank you so much. A huge congrats and thank you for Anna for putting this stream together and covering the event. And thank you so much, Peter, for joining us today and
Thank you so
provide.
much for having me.
So, anyway, thank you, girls. I know it's been a very tiring weekend, and thank you for joining. And without further ado, I think it's okay to say goodbye, right?
Yeah, go to sleep, those of you. It's the wee hours of the morning.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Congratulations once again.
Thank you so much. Bye, guys. Bye, girls.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye. Let me know when you stop the stream.
Okay. Thank you all for joining our stream today, for all our followers and supporters. We look forward to seeing you all watching again next year for this event. Have a great weekend. And
Bye,
now I
guys.
press end stream button.